Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. And now we've got Wren against Shane Thompson. Try break. It seemed to connect them well. Cue ball just parked itself right in front of the pack. Got nudged a couple of times. So these shorter races in the Jason Owen Open, races to 4. Shane obviously exited the main event last night, getting defeated by Aaron Davis. Shane obviously on a hot streak of form, having won 2 events just last weekend down in Stoke-on-Trent. Still on a high from those wins. Pocketed £14,000. Enjoying himself so much, he's still carrying the trophies around with him. He just, I don't know if we can get a camera angle on the trophies. They're on the table just behind Shane. No, we haven't got a camera over that side. No, we don't have one, I'm afraid. Sorry, we can't see the trophies. I jest, of course. He's not carrying the trophies around with him, but it would be funny if he was. Nice shot from Shane just to navigate through to one of his difficult balls. You can see him. Thought maybe an option to play a deliberate foul, but he obviously feels he can still land on this last difficult ball. Just wonder whether he may play the plant yellow onto red and just leave the yellow over the pocket. Yeah, I think that is what he's going to play, knowing that Neil's... Oh, he's played the double. That's a good shot. That would have been the negative way of playing it, is to play yellow onto red. And obviously Neil's got 3 reds up in that area, and Shane would have had the top 2 pockets, but obviously the attacking option is way better. But Ran out of position by quite some margin there. He was looking to land much further across to the right. Is he going to fluke this one? No. But, he's put the pressure firmly back on Neil. I think next time he comes to the table, he's going to find himself in a spot of bother. Neil's going to be looking to extract 2 visits. He could go for the clearance here. Just depends on how attacking he wants to be. He could play a telling snooker and try and get 2 visits. But I don't think he actually needs to. He's got an angle now to screw down the side cushion. He's had a touch of fortune there. He was trying to screw directly down the cushion and nudge that red out. But he did it in a roundabout way. Got a little flick. Well, his only issue now is he doesn't really have anything open. I think he's going to be forced into playing a snooker. So played the snooker. His problem here was Shane was almost always going to have a 1 cushion escape. He tried to push the red across the table to take away the natural 1 cushion, but it was always going to be a 1 cushion escape ultimately. And you fancy Shane to get close. And even if he doesn't get close, he's going to put the pressure firmly back onto Neil. Now Neil has to pull out. Well, he's only really got an option of pulling out a good pot. There's no telling safeties. He can lay a snooker, but even if he gets it, it should be fairly simple to get out of. So I think he has to take the aggressive option here, and he needs to pull out a big pot. Shane firmly in control of this frame. It's a nice shot. It's a nice opener, but Neil's still got this problem red on the left-hand cushion that he needs to navigate. So Shane wins the opening frame. So obviously issue for Neil is the two reds that are just above the black. I think the top one, if you land on it nicely, then it'll go to the right middle, but the other one, where does that go? I think he's going to have to dislodge it, but it doesn't really have a ball. It's naturally gives him the angle, and he's running out of balls to do anything. It doesn't double. He's just looking now at landing behind it, so he's got an angle on the one to middle where he can just stun across table and maybe take them both into the bottom left corner. That's in off, I think. Yes, it is. And even if it wasn't, I mean, he had to thread the needle through the gap, but even if that wasn't in off, if he found the bottom knuckle, he would have had a horrible angle to get from one red onto the other. But ultimately, that error is going to cost him the frame. So let's just take a look at the main event. There were a few games that were still finishing off. We were waiting for the result of Craig Lakin versus Pat Ward. Craig Lakin won that one 7-5. So the last 16 is going to be Sean Chipperfield against Jake McCartney, Craig Lakin against Luke Gilbert, Jack Whelan against Steve Dempsey, Harjeet Singh against Sean Story. Arfan Dad awaits the winner of Jez Graham and Neil Davey. That game's been going on for a long time. That one started at 9 o'clock this morning, and it's still 5-4 in favour of Jez, so there's still some play left in that one. Ben Flack's going to be playing Christian Disney, Tom Cousins against John McAllister, and Aaron Davis against Neil Raybone. Those games get underway at 5 p.m, so that's when the last 16 is going to resume. That is played out to a conclusion this evening. Quarterfinals are at around about between 6:30 and 7:30. Semi-finals, we'll televise both, scheduled around 8 to 9 o'clock, and the final scheduled for 10:30. So that is played to a conclusion this evening. I believe the stream game is going to be I think they'll probably end up streaming 2 of those last 16, looking at the way they're scheduled, but I know one of them is going to be Tom Cousins against John McAllister, but it looks like they'll probably try and stream one of the games from each section, because they've got one scheduled at 5 and one at 5:45. I don't know what the other game would be. I mean, if I was choosing one, I'd say the blockbuster amongst those, probably Sean Chipperfield against Jake McCartney, albeit Craig Lakin against Luke Gilbert could be an excellent game. You could make a case for all of them, to be honest. Jack Whelan against Stevie Dempsey, Harjeet Singh against Sean Story. I mean, any of those would grace the main arena. We'll wait to see what the organisers choose. In the meantime, Shane Thompson cleared those yellows. He leads 2-0. He has broken off and potted a yellow. I think, given the choice, you would probably take reds here. The yellow, probably furthest to the left, is causing a bit of a headache and would have influenced that decision. All the reds have a pocket, but always difficult when the traffic's congested into one area, and literally there's just one collection of balls in the middle of the table, nothing above the bulk line. What a delightful shot he's played there. Just shows his cue power. He's got generates so much spin. When you think this guy is using a 9.7mm tip, which is, I mean, it's huge in the game of pool. Virtually unheard of. But he gets so much action on the cue ball from such a big tip. Well, Shane, having done a lot of the hard work, obviously missed that red, which probably, had he made it, would have given him the frame. Actually, he's done all the hard work for Neil as well, because he's removed all of the obstacles, and now these yellows, well, you should be taking these out at pretty much any level, I think. I think in the ideal world you would, I mean, you could use any of these balls to get on the black, obviously, but I think he's looking to leave the yellow to the right of the black as his ball to get onto the black. He's going to have to take the yellow to left centre and then top left, and probably screw back to take the one that the cue ball's closest to into middle pocket. I think now you'd be looking in the ideal world to screw back on top of the red that's nearest to the cue ball. I think ideally would have just liked to have been straighter, so he could just screw straight back. Easy to pick the line. Now he's going to have to use the cushion. He's good cueing. Pot shouldn't be a problem. It's all about where the cue ball lands. The problem is he doesn't have much of a window. Ideal situation is you land straight on the yellow to the one that's kind of on his shoulder at the moment. You land on that straight. It's cost him the pot, and you could see he was struggling for position there. I think he was trying to screw back onto that red, but ultimately he's overhit it by quite a margin. Missed the red, and well, missed the pot as well, obviously. But yeah, just ended up just confusing the issue a bit. Played himself into a spot of bother. I think Neil will be disappointed. Actually, Neil has been around the scene for a long time. Featured in some of the Supreme Series events, if I recall, and took some decent sculpts along the way. So he's definitely a player who is not doing himself the kind of credit and showing what he is capable of. Neil actually from down south on the south coast, from the Portsmouth area. Pots, 3 reds. It's going to take yellows. Just doesn't seem to have the cue ball quite under the control that he'd like. Which means it's making everything else a little awkward. You can see there, I mean, the first shot, he just left himself a little more angle than he'd like on the one to middle, which has now left him a bigger angle on this one, and this makes this cut back into middle pretty awkward. And when you're lacking a little bit of confidence as well, this is a very tricky pot. And there you see, lost the yellow again. He will be fuming, sat in the corner. A chance to showcase what he can do, and he's just not been able to. So 2 visits and ball in hand. You feel that the writing's on the wall for a 4-0 victory for Shane Thompson. I'm going to assume that both of these go to middle. From that camera angle, you'd think that well, no, it doesn't. So that's not the best of shots, but he's got the second visit, so it won't be a problem. Just tees himself up. So he's got a simple stun shot to leave a straight black to bottom left. And that will be all she wrote in this match. And it's Shane Thompson who goes through into the next round of the Jason Owen Open. Still not sure who we've got up on stream next. We'll try and find out that information. We'll have a few words with Shane out in the interview room. Just find out his thoughts in the aftermath of winning those 2 events last week. And yeah, we'll see you out there in just a minute, and I'll try and find out the information of who's next up on stream. Speak to you soon. So joined by Shane after that win. Shane, first things first. Let's talk about the game. Neil's better than that, isn't he?
Oh yeah, loads better. Bit of an early one for me today. So yeah, a few tired shots, but yeah, I'm just obviously glad that Neil didn't play that great, really. Yeah, I'll take the win.
Good to get across the line. So let's just. It's impossible to have you in here and not talk about last weekend. Has it sunk in yet?
Yeah, being up here and seeing everyone, obviously all the congratulations stuff is obviously sinking in. Yeah, still feels a bit out of this world really, but yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Still carrying around those trophies?
I'm not, and you're an idiot for doing that. Yeah, I haven't got the trophies. They're not with me. They're in the club. Nick likes to play jokes.
No, but I mean that is. I think I've said on comms before that you've always been knocking on the door, and I think you even mentioned it last week that you're always there and thereabouts, but it's like that seminal moment that you need. You needed it in your career just to say that yes, I can do it, and I'm competing at the top. You knew you were anyway. You've done it in money matches, but you've just not managed to get across the line. And now you've had those 2 wins. I think you're just going to kick on. Yeah,
it's more about like self-belief. Like it was getting to a stage where I didn't think I was going to win anything. So obviously to win 2 in one weekend was, well, yeah, like dreams are made of, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But yeah, hopefully it's the start of more to come.
Yeah, yeah. So. I mean, has that affected your game this week at all? Obviously, you played against Aaron yesterday, quality player, and you know, no shame in getting beat by him. But is it kind of almost like a bit of a hangover from last week? Are you still finding the energy to be able to play at the top of your game?
Obviously, yeah, a bit tired, but I haven't really played this week. Obviously, I've been trying to just relax and enjoy it. So I come in not really expecting to do much, really, not without practicing. So. But yeah, we'll just take one game at a time and see if I can just play myself back into a bit of form.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're in the second round of the Jason Owen, so maybe a deep run in that one. We'll see. Best of luck for the rest of the weekend, mate.
Cheers, Nick.
Cheers.